the tennis world erupted. King Charles III personally congratulated Alex Eala on her remarkable Birmingham Open triumph. As messages of praise poured in from fans, athletes, and public figures around the world, one congratulatory note captured more attention than any other. Fresh off the biggest victory of her season, the 21-year-old Filipina star suddenly found herself at the center of a global conversation after receiving recognition from the British monarch himself. For a young player who grew up dreaming of competing on the sport's biggest stages, it was a moment few could have imagined. Birmingham, England, June 7th, 2026. The crowd rose to its feet as Alex Eala secured the final point of an unforgettable championship match. After more than 2 hours of intense tennis, a perfectly placed cross-court winner sealed her first grass court title and her first WTA trophy since 2025. Emotions flooded across center court as Eala celebrated a victory that many believe was impossible just days earlier. Only a week before the tournament began, concerns had been raised about her physical condition following a demanding clay court season filled with long matches, travel, and setbacks. Many questioned whether she should even compete. Eala, however, refused to listen to the doubts. She trusted her instincts, stepped onto the grass courts of Birmingham, and delivered the performance of her career. Her determination, resilience, and fighting spirit quickly became one of the biggest stories in tennis. Then came the moment that sent social media into overdrive. King Charles III publicly congratulated Alex Eala on her championship victory, praising the achievement and recognizing the dedication required to reach such a milestone. The message instantly went viral, with fans celebrating what they viewed as a historic moment for Philippine tennis. For millions watching around the world, it was more than a congratulation. It was recognition that Alex Eala's journey, sacrifice, and success had reached far beyond the boundaries of the tennis court. From Manila to Birmingham, her championship run had become an inspiration, and the King's message only made the moment even more unforgettable. Within hours of Alex Eala's Birmingham Open victory, social media exploded with reactions from around the world. Thousands of Philippine flag emojis flooded comment sections, while fans celebrated what many called one of the greatest moments in Philippine tennis history. One phrase appeared again and again: "Lean Alex." On center court, Eala had shown exactly why she deserved the support. Facing the tournament's top seed, Nikola Bartkov of the Czech Republic, she refused to surrender when the pressure was at its highest. Trailing 4-1 in the second set, and visibly exhausted after a grueling week, she continued to fight for every point. Her determination paid off as she clawed her way back into the match, broke her opponent's serve at crucial moments, and eventually sealed the championship with a brilliant winner that sent the crowd into a frenzy. As the stadium erupted in applause, Eala raised her arms in celebration, knowing she had just achieved one of the biggest victories of her career. During the trophy ceremony, she thanked her supporters and dedicated the victory to the Philippines, a gesture that touched fans across the globe. Messages of congratulations quickly arrived from fellow athletes, public figures, and supporters, but one message stood above all the rest. Days after her remarkable triumph, King Charles III publicly congratulated Alex Eala on her achievement, recognizing the dedication, perseverance, and excellence she displayed throughout the tournament. The recognition instantly became a major talking point online, with news outlets and fans sharing the King's message across social media platforms. For many Filipinos, it was a proud moment to see one of their own receive praise from the British monarch after such an inspiring performance. What began as a hard-fought tennis tournament had become an international story of determination and success. Alex's journey from a young dreamer in Manila to a champion on British grass courts had already inspired millions. But the congratulatory message from King Charles added another unforgettable chapter to the story. As fans celebrated across 2 continents, one thing became clear: Alex Eala's victory was no longer just a tennis result. It had become a moment of national pride and global recognition. The attention surrounding Alex's Birmingham Open triumph continued to grow. With each passing day, news of her remarkable championship run spread far beyond the tennis community, attracting praise from fans, athletes, and public figures across the world. Then came the moment that truly sent social media into overdrive. Reports emerged that King Charles III had taken notice of the young Filipina champion's achievement and had personally extended his congratulations following her impressive victory on British soil. For Alex Eala, it was an unexpected honor. Winning a tournament is one thing, but receiving recognition from the British monarch is something few athletes ever experience. As news of the King's congratulatory message circulated online, Filipino fans celebrated the moment as another milestone in Eala's rapidly growing career. Television networks, sports programs, and major news outlets highlighted the story, while supporters proudly shared the news across social media platforms. The excitement was not just about a tennis title anymore. It was about seeing a young athlete from the Philippines earn international recognition through hard work, determination, and resilience. Commentators pointed out that Eala's journey represented far more than a single championship. She had become a symbol of what is possible when talent meets persistence, inspiring countless young athletes who dream of competing on the world stage. The King's acknowledgement added another layer of significance to an already unforgettable achievement. Across the tennis world, fans discussed how quickly Eala's profile had risen following her Birmingham success. What started as a breakthrough tournament had evolved into a global story with people far beyond the sport taking notice. For many Filipinos, the recognition from King Charles III served as confirmation that Eala's accomplishments were being appreciated on an international level. As celebrations continued and congratulatory messages poured in from every corner of the globe, one thing became clear. Alex Eala's Birmingham Open victory was not simply a tournament win. It was a career-defining moment that elevated her status, inspired a nation, and captured the attention of millions around the world. Private audiences at Buckingham Palace are typically reserved for world leaders, Nobel laureates, and sporting icons at the very highest level of achievement. So, the question spread quickly across the world. Why Alex? And why now? Some analysts suggested it was a Commonwealth initiative, a symbolic recognition of rising talent from member nations. Others speculated about an honorary distinction or even the early stages of a historic award tied to her impact on sport. Yet, through all the noise, Alex remained silent. Her camp released only a brief, carefully worded statement confirming that she was deeply honored by His Majesty's invitation and looked forward to the meeting, offering no further details or clues about what was to come. As June 25th, 2026 approached, speculation reached fever pitch with fans and media questioning what kind of conversation a tennis player, fresh off a WTA 125 level breakthrough, could possibly have with the King of the United Kingdom. Then the day arrived. At 2:00 p.m., Alex stepped out of a black chauffeured vehicle onto the gravel driveway of Buckingham Palace, her pulse racing beneath the weight of the moment. She wore a traditional Filipiniana gown, its delicate embroidery and butterfly sleeves symbolizing her heritage. Each detail reflected the nation she carried with her onto every court. Cameras flashed as photographers called her name, the sound echoing like distant applause, while inside the palace walls a historic audience awaited. The private meeting lasted 40 minutes, with no press allowed inside, but later reports described it as warm, personal, and unexpectedly profound. Then at 3:30 p.m., Buckingham Palace issued an official statement that immediately sent shockwaves across the sporting world and beyond. It confirmed not only the King's admiration for Alex's inspiring rise, but also revealed that she would be receiving a special recognition that had never before been associated with a player at this stage of her career. The King announced the creation of the Queen Elizabeth II Commonwealth Young Athlete Award, a newly established honor designed to recognize athletes who embody exceptional courage, resilience, and the true spirit of fair play. And it was confirmed that Alex Eala would become its first ever recipient. But the announcement did not end there. The award package included an invitation to a future state banquet at Buckingham Palace, a specially designed medal crafted by the Royal Mint, and, most significantly, a 100,000 grant dedicated to supporting grassroots tennis development in the Philippines. The funds were directed toward building new courts, expanding coaching programs, and creating opportunities for the next generation of Filipino athletes. According to the official statement, His Majesty's commitment to youth development and Commonwealth unity had long been a defining part of his public work. And in Alex Eala, he saw a young athlete who embodied those values not only through her performance on court, but through her resilience, integrity, and willingness to stand by her beliefs. The tennis world was left stunned. Within minutes, social media erupted as reactions poured in from across the globe. Coco Gauff shared the announcement with a simple message, calling it so deserved. Naomi Osaka praised Eala's impact both on and off the court, highlighting her influence beyond tennis. But the most powerful response came from the Philippines. In Quezon City, crowds gathered outside her family home, waving flags and chanting her name in celebration. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. issued a statement describing Eala as a national treasure whose achievements had brought immense pride to the country. The hashtag linking Alex and the King trended worldwide for hours as the story dominated global headlines. Back in Manila, her mother, Raisa, watched the unfolding moment through tears, reflecting on how far her daughter had come from childhood dreams to global recognition. Yet, behind all the celebration, not everyone in the tennis world responded publicly. The WUDA remained notably silent, offering no immediate statement or acknowledgement. A quiet absence that stood in contrast to the historic scale of the announcement that had just changed everything for Alex Eala in Philippine tennis. And that silence, for millions of fans watching around the world, seemed louder than any palace statement ever made. The sun had long set over Metro Manila, yet the city still carried the glow of a historic day that no one would forget. In her childhood bedroom, Alex sat quietly, the Buckingham Palace medal resting in its velvet box on her nightstand. Beside it lay official grant documents confirming a landmark commitment to fund the construction of 6 new tennis courts across Luzon and the Visayas. The reality of everything she had just experienced pressed gently on her, not as pressure, but as weighty meaning. At 21 years old, she was now a grass court champion, a guest of the royal palace, and the symbolic face of a movement far bigger than herself. Earlier that evening, before the full wave of media attention had settled, she had arrived at Ninoy Aquino International Airport without an official ceremony. Yet somehow, word had spread. Nearly 2,000 people had gathered outside the terminal, waving Philippine flags, holding handwritten signs, and chanting her name until their voices grew hoarse. She moved slowly through the crowd, holding her mother's hand, pausing often to embrace children who looked at her with a mixture of awe and inspiration, as though she were something between a role model and a dream made real. One young girl, no older than 8, had given her a drawing of a tennis court, crowned with a star above it. Below the drawing was a single word, Salamat. Alex had knelt down, looked her in the eyes, and spoken softly in a message that would later be replayed across national television and social media. Huwag kayong susuko. Hindi mahalaga kung saan kayo nagsimula. Mahalaga kung saan kayo patungo. Don't stop dreaming. It doesn't matter where you start. It matters where you're going. The girl had burst into tears, and so had Alex. Later that night, alone in her room, she scrolled through her phone. Not for the flood of interviews or headlines, but for the personal messages she had received over the past week. Stories from young athletes across the Philippines, including a tennis player from Iloilo City who had once been told she was not good enough. We're all now finding hope in a story that had begun on a court far from the palace walls. Alex Eala claimed her first championship of the year at the Birmingham Open. As the most high-profile professional Filipino tennis player in the world, Alex Eala had been having an eventful season, with appearances at the French Open, Italian Open, and Madrid Open, among others. In the past few months, Alex had been busy playing her way around the world, with each match, win and loss, contributing to her growth and lessons learned. Her star was undoubtedly on the rise, and once again, she made history not just for herself, but for Philippine tennis and Filipina athletes, with her win at the Birmingham Open. Recently, Alex Eala was in the United Kingdom for her latest tournament, competing in the Birmingham Open. Played on a grass court, the more than 4-decade-old competition saw Alex win match after match as she reached the final round. The moment was an achievement in itself for the Gen Z athlete, as it was the first time she appeared at a finals match this season. However, she was up against stiff competition in Nikola Barkov from the Czech Republic.